And we are live. This is good. I am starting to get over my habit of starting every damn recording with saying okay. I have moved on to and. This is progress, people. So today we are playing a game with my wonderful people here who are going to introduce themselves one at a time. I don't care which, because there's only two of you today. Top to bottom.
Okay, hi.
Sorry, I should have given
go.
you an order, otherwise there is chaos. There is chaos. Okay, Uni, you go first.
Hello, I am Yuni. I am here and excited to play Larry Samuel, the eternal straight man who everyone has gotten weirdly into lately.
And how?
Hello, I'm Luis.
And you are playing?
And I play Tobias. Sorry, it's too push to talk.
It's okay. So
everything is fine. It's gonna be alright.
We're gonna be
great.
Okay, it's gonna be fine. So yeah, these two darlings are much beloved by the server and me and the engineer. So we thought, hell to it, let's like have a game with these two precious babies. So it's been a couple of weeks, and you guys have spent different amounts of time in the studio. Larry, you spend considerably more time there, considering you basically live there. But you have been, as it were, coexisting for quite a while. I would like to know what your two characters think of each other. Like, have they interacted at all?
They've definitely interacted some, I imagine. Don't you think, Lewis?
Yes.
Larry.
Maybe the comic is canon.
They've probably done some practices together and whatnot.
Yeah.
Larry thinks that Tobias is nice. He's a little twitchy, which makes him a little hard to talk to. You know, Larry knows that he can be intimidating, so.
Just a little bit.
Tobias definitely thinks that Larry is intimidating, but he tries not to let that get to him, because
It's okay.
Larry is nice when he's not being scary.
Yeah.
By appearance.
Sometimes Larry is scary on purpose, sometimes he's not. It's a thing. It's a thing with that face.
It's very much a thing.
Yeah. Also, I imagine, as you guys have been talking about this, I've probably put up that comic that you did with the health potions because it was adorable. I will definitely edit that into the video.
It was so cute.
So that's where we're at with you two. So yeah, it's been a couple of weeks and things are going well at Dodo Studios. Everything is very active. There's a lot of movies in the works. Many more than can be played in a reasonable amount of time, which is frustrating for someone like me. And you are both respectively doing very well. Larry, you've been getting some hands-on stunt training with the engineer, and I suspect you've had a little bit of maybe tuition in the music department by the Penguins, and maybe got a little bit better, because golly, you couldn't have done much worse.
He's trying, okay?
He's trying his best. And Tobias, you just keep going.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Do your best. And you can do no wrong. Tobias, you're going from strength to strength, especially after your, confessing that you found your colour change emotions to be something that you were worried about as an actor, and the engineer just kind of exploded that because he thinks it's the best thing ever. He loves it. So this is very good, and it's the beginning of the day. It's surprisingly quiet because Snailian and Shorts Kid are actually off on a school trip for about 3 days. They've gone off to the Independent Isles for a camping trip. Great fun. Which, reduces the chaos level in this building by about 50%. It's a chill morning, and I think, Tobias, you're probably running over your lines for the day. Larry, you're just kind of hanging out there. Maybe you're doing a bit of mopping, and you see the engineer, and he seems to be kind of talking to himself.
listen in on what he's saying?
Sure, make a perception check.
Oh, good. That's a straight D20. Oh,
13.
Not terrible.
You get the gist of the sort of mood of what he's saying. I'm going to see if Tobias rolls any better before I say more. Are you going to perceive?
I think Tobias is too focused on what he's doing right now, and they didn't notice the engineer right at first.
That's awesome. I'm going to use that. So for 13, Larry, you realise that he's basically listing off what he has to do to himself. He's actually got a piece of paper in his hands. And he sounds kind of stressed, and you can, like, just by the intonation, it's a 13, so it's not like you can hear every word he's saying, but he keeps, like, backtracking and getting things muddled up. And as he's walking forwards with this piece of paper in front of him, he walks slap bang into Tobias, which he has never done before.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there, lad. Sorry, I didn't hurt you this time, did I? Remembering the occasion where he broke your rib by hugging you.
It's alright. Sir, no, sir, yeah, I didn't see you there. Are you okay? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I am fine, I'm fine, and
He's starting to go purple.
He doesn't even notice that you're turning purple because he's continued walking and absently is patting what he assumed to be your leg, but it's actually a floodlight.
Larry is going to go up and try and pick the paper out of his hands.
Okay, I think that requires you to roll dex, please.
Oh, good. That's a thing I can do. Oop,
20.
It's a dirty 20.
That's
dirty 20.
Absolutely no issue. You whisk that piece of paper out from underneath the engineer's nose, and it takes him a second to realise. In fact, he's still, like, very much in his head about what to do, and then he's like, "Hey, what? Oh, come on! This is not the best time for practical jokes. I have got so much to do."
Yeah, I can see that, and I assume it's like a list of all the tons of stuff he has.
Yeah. Also, you can now see firsthand that the engineer's writing, when it's not on, say, a dope sheet or things that are instructions for other people to read, his handwriting is really bad. This is, like, indecipherably bad. It's amazing that anybody could read this. In fact, you're not even convinced that this is common. I think at this point, he is basically trying to get it back off you, so I will roll just a straight dex as well. 15! You're pretty tall, but he does manage to hop up and grab it out of your hands. I don't want to, do this too many times for this game, because this is going to be very much you suggest rolls to me, but I think you should both roll insight.
Okay.
A 9.
Oh.
Actually, Tobias, I'm gonna give you. Tobias, I'm gonna give you.
My shits. Give me a sec.
It's fine, but you get advantage, and I'll explain why in a moment.
Ooh. I'll roll in a sec. Give me a sec.
It's fine. This is how the game works. We go, oh shit, what is my bonus? Do I have a bonus? Where the fuck is it? And then about 5 minutes later, we can roll the dice.
I was so excited for the game that I forgot to put up my shit.
I've done that so many times.
I'm not even going to admit to it, but yeah, totally. It's especially bad if you're the DM because you have to have, like, about
a bonus
5.
inside.
Oh, is it just a straight 20? Okay, and roll again, because you get advantage. Oh, remember the exclamation mark?
Oops.
It's okay. A 6?
Oh
my
no.
gosh, you guys! Yeah, you don't understand what's the matter with him.
We're tired.
You just think he's his usual kind of grumpy self, but perhaps slightly more than usual. And he has got the piece of paper back and is, I suppose, just going to continue chunnering and walking away from you unless you pursue him.
Yeah, Larry, like, even if he can't quite tell what's going on, he does seem more out of it than usual, so, Larry is gonna, like, give Tobias a glance and then... Yeah.
Yeah. Tobias is running in front of the engineer to stop him from walking away.
Okay, he walks into you again, and I think
Sir,
I think
are
he
you
needs.
alright?
I think at this point, he walks into you for a second time, and because he was being determined, I need you to make a strength check or saving throw. Strength saving throw, I think actually.
Oh my god.
Also, the reason that you had advantage. Oh, 7. That's not good. You are catapulted and like land straight on your ass, basically. with your comedic sound effect of your choice. The reason you got advantage, however, is because you know about the engineer's color scheme, and I think because. In the interest of advancing the game, but also because you got a close enough look at him now, because you're like basically on his level, having fallen over, because you're tall, he's short, and you're very close up, and he is orange. He's his usual orange, so he's not like miserable or anything. But it's strange. He looks like he has freckles, like he has little sprays of grey feathers in amongst the orange. Now that you are looking at him directly. And he's just basically saying, oh, come on, what is with you two today? I do not need this kind of attitude.
Larry sort of comes up behind him and goes, hey, boss, you feeling all right?
I'm fine. I would be feeling much better if certain people weren't getting in my way. And he is helping you up while he's saying this, Tobias, so he doesn't really mean it, but it's a little bit more of a yank on the arm than he would have otherwise given you.
Tobias.
Oh, you cut out there.
Just a very small thank you.
Oh, I feel terrible.
It's the push to talk. But yeah, he just says a little thank you, but mumbling it.
Well, Larry's gonna do something weird and try and pick up the engineer.
Oh my god, are you actually?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna say, ordinarily for a barbarian, I would be making a dex save, but he's facing away from you, Larry, because he kept walking. So you basically have a sneak attack. I will let you roll dex to grab him with advantage.
Yeah. Well, that's a dirty 20 already.
You're fine. 17
yeah,
or 20.
A dirty 20 will do it, I think.
The dice wanted this to happen. Describe this, yes.
So basically, Larry sort of reaches out and grabs the engineer by sort of the scruff of his collar to hoist him up. And he goes, well, boss, it seems since everyone's getting in your way and you can't look where you're going, why don't you tell me where you're headed and I'll just be your taxi for the moment, all right?
For a moment, he's kind of like actually apoplectic and cannot speak because he's so outraged that you dare to do this to him. And actually, now that you've got him like very close up, you see this feather thing as well. And even though you've not been given his color scheme to understand his emotions in that regard, you've known this guy for a while, and they're pretty basic to understand. Also, like, most people who have seen his films kind of understand the whole grey-orange thing. It's fairly obvious. And yeah, he is just spitting feathers and Grolix, and I think you need to do something to calm him down.
Larry doesn't. He's just sort of like throws him over his shoulder. Is like, all right, let's go.
Oh, he is absolutely actually going to try and escape that. So I will roll, and I am a barbarian, so I get to do that twice. 17. I'm afraid.
Tobias watching this.
Well, I mean, I think this would be contested since it's two barbarians going at it.
Oh, sure, okay, but like the fireman's lift was it. He is not happy with that. But yes, please roll to contest my 17.
Oh. And then, again, barbarian advantage.
Oh,
that's a 20!
Damn it! Okay, it's pretty close. Like, he manages to get away from you. It's kind of like a cat, you know, when you're, like, trying to, like, grab a hold of it, like a bar of soap in the bathtub, but you actually manage to get hold of him again. I think you actually will have to stuff him under your arm. And he protests, like, vehemently. He's very upset about this, but he's not doing it as much as he normally would. You know this guy. He's actually pretty strong, considering. And you actually start to, without an insight roll, you understand that he is tired.
Oh, that's right, boss. Get it out of your system.
I'll get your system out of your body if you don't put me down!
Well,
Oh my god, sir, please.
And he does actually, I think it's actually Tobias's sort of slightly shocked outburst there that makes him sort of take a second and realise that he is not perhaps behaving in a dignified fashion. And he does sort of stop flailing and just hangs there. He looks like his arms and his legs are made out of lead, and he's just like, fine, just take me to my office.
there we go. And Larry sort of marches him off because it's like, he's not intentionally, like, trying to demean his boss, but he does think that, you know, the boss can get a little bit too caught up in his head sometimes. It can be good to have something to shock him out of it.
I think on this rather eventful little journey to his office, I would like you both to make an insight check again, just to see if you... This is almost like thinking on what you know in the context of everything. Aha!
Better.
Larry is doing well on this one. Okay, that's good. And again, respectively makes sense, because Tobias, you've been around less time, but you do know this guy, and you know, you come in here to work, and you do see him for a certain number of hours. Larry, with that 18, makes perfect sense, because you basically live in the studio, you see him all the time. He is, whether or not you admit it, trying to be your adoptive father, and he does, like, interact with you a lot. He has been working non-stop. As soon as he got back into the swing of things, it's almost like making up for lost time. He is burning the candle at every conceivable end. And there's been some nights where he goes out and you don't know where he goes, but he comes back really late and then he just keeps working. And with an 18, I think you know, like, especially for the past 3 days, you don't know when this guy has slept.
Ooh, that's not good.
It's not great.
Mm-mm.
So as they're walking, Larry will say, "So, boss, when was the last time you took a nap?"
None of your business.
It is literally my business. You hired me.
I didn't hire you to be my nanny, and he gives you a little kick for that, and I think you're just gonna take a 2. You take 2 hit points of bludgeoning damage.
Boom. Tobias is just following and trying to calm the engineer down. Sir, please, he's just trying to help.
And again, like, there's something about you that he can't not listen to, and he sort of seethes for a second. His ears are, like, way back. You know when a horse is about to kick you? Like, he looks like that. And he did just kick you, so it makes sense. You have, however, reached the office. And are you going to go into the office?
Is it unlocked?
You can try.
I will try.
Okay, I want you to make a dex save.
Oh, good. Let's see. Throw. 22.
You do an amazing Noodle Man rubber hose backflip out of the way of a flood of paper that just comes barreling out of this room.
Oh my god.
And there are bills, there are scripts, it's every conceivable kind of paperwork associated with this studio. And he has been trying to handle this all by himself. Notably, the accounts, because he lost his accountant, and he is not really good at this kind of stuff.
Oh, no.
And he sees this sea wash out, and he's just like, oh, hang me now.
Boss. You,
Tobias is speechless.
tell me you're not doing this by yourself.
What, do you want me to tell you a lie?
Larry sort of rubs a hand over his mask and goes, oh boy. Well, he sort of gently puts the engineer down. He goes, did you really think this was plausible, boss?
There is a colour shift, and Tobias, you probably feel a bit about this, because he's gone from orange to sepia, and those little grey flakes are very visible now. He just seems to have kind of drooped. He looks utterly miserable and kind of embarrassed, because he was trying to keep this under wraps and trying to deal with it all by himself, but he very obviously is having trouble doing that.
Boss, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but we just got this place back up and running. If you run yourself into the ground, it's not going to stay up for a whole lot longer. You gotta take a break and ask for help when you need it. You know that, right?
You know what, I was gonna ask you to roll Persuasion, but that was just so damn good. Like, I think anybody would listen to that, especially considering how much he rates you. He really does respect you, Larry. And he puts his face in his paws, and it looks a bit dangerous, actually, because he's got talons, and he kind of drags them over his face, but he doesn't cut himself. He's just like, okay, maybe I have been overworking myself a wee tiny bit, especially with the kids. But we do have 3 days without them. I mean, bless them.
A little bit.
Well, I'll ask you kindly not to
Have you seen
overjudge
what
me.
came out of your office?
I will actually. That's going to be an issue. Can we try and get us back into the office? And I think you should both make a strength. Or like, if you've got some way of tidying this up.
Oh my.
Like, please do so, but otherwise make a strength check, which he is also going to do.
Also,
Not good, he's very tired.
I just want to say that Tobias is a new color. He's actually a light red right now.
Oh dear!
Ooh.
Oh, ahaha, that's fun. Okay, so Larry, you're kicking this paper's ass with a 22. This paper knows who's boss. The engineer with a 6, like, he is so tired, he's just so disorganized. He can barely control his limbs. Tobias, you're having just as much trouble. It's very slippery. There's a lot of paper.
Thank God for.
Larry's just like, all right. he basically doubles as a janitor in his off time anyway.
He does. Yeah, you've had some practice with this, huh? Anyway, eventually you do manage to get the ceiling tied back in the office, and by the time you've managed to do that, he is absolutely, literally, mechanically in the D&D sense, exhausted. And he actually just collapses into the chair behind the desk with his face flat on the table. You know, like when a dog has its head on your lap, like he does that. He's just, with his ears drooped down, he's just like,
Aww.
can I ask you boys for a favor?
What's up, boss?
Anytime, sir.
Well, I've got 2 options. Either I ask you to bury me, or can you just man the shop for 1 day? I just need 4 hours of kip.
Sure. I think we can manage that.
We can do the second option, yes.
Okay, so the first thing, and then you've got to, and this is really important, what you must not do is, And he has fallen asleep, just is in a coma.
Alright.
And Larry sort of glances down at Tobias and he goes, well, let's go, partner. Sort of marches off.
Okay. You leave the office, and the second you close that door, and I imagine you're doing it very gently, it's like, click, you hear boom, 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 from next door, and there is dubstep resounding through, and this isn't something you've not experienced before, because DJ Moves does like to throw a party for the Penguins pretty regularly. This is a bit surprising though, it's very early in the day. But my goodness, it's loud. What are you going to do?
No, we're not starting like Tobias rushes to where the dubsteps come from.
Okay,
Harry follows.
Yeah, you both know exactly where to go. You, hurry through the left-hand side of Dodo Studios, and there's actually a couple of points where you can basically jump onto their set. I think Larry, Shorts Kid, has shown you a couple of weird little shortcuts, so you can get there pretty quickly. And yes, there is a hell of a party going on. It's a real shindig. It's some pretty funky music going on. So, yeah, what are you gonna do?
Well, unless Tobias does something first, Larry's gonna look around for the plug to the sound system.
Ooh. Okay, you roll investigation while Tobias, what do you do?
I want to see if I can find moves to explain the situation.
Okay, you actually know where his office is, because this set is basically a mirror image of the engineer's side of the studio. The problem is there's a sea of penguins dancing in the way, so what you need to do is dance!
Oh, great.
So you can either roll... Yeah, Larry's 9, you cannot find anything, because, again, they're having a party. This is the middle of a party, it's dark, and the lights are flashing, and there's a tiny penguin everywhere you look. Oh my god, why are there so many? But yeah, Tobias has the right idea, because you know where the office is, but you have to get through, and you can both either roll me performance or acrobatics.
Well, I know which one Larry's good at.
I have a suspicion I know.
Oh, me too.
Oop. That's a 20 for a total of 26.
Alright!
Oh
That's
my God.
great!
Meanwhile, Tobias is just drowning in penguins.
Yeah, you try to...
Drowning in the penguin.
Yeah, Tobias, you try and get through, but you actually, like, you basically trip over one, and then they take that as a cue to crowd surf you, but you can't tell them which way you want to go, so you just end up being borne aloft by a sea of tiny flippers, and it's very cute and kind of tickly, but not conducive to your needs.
He can't even scream because there's so much noise.
Yeah! Larry, do you want to describe what happens with a nat 20 plus 6?
Let's see how to describe it. Larry, he is someone who is fairly droopy, fairly leaden in his movement when he doesn't have much else going on. But he is also insanely limber. So I don't think you've probably ever seen what it looks like when Larry dances.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out
Oh my god.
some moves, and he is just like expertly weaving his way through the crowd, and like I say like on his way through, he just sort of like plucks up Toby and sort of escorts him along through the dance floor.
Oh, absolutely. With a nat 20, you can waltz the night away with this boy. It's very impressive. In fact, you get like...
Incredible.
You get a round of cheers, like, from your performance, Larry. They think you are the coolest, and they're very, very impressed. So you both manage to reach the office.
And Larry just sort of sets Toby down, dusts him off a little bit, goes, okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Incidentally, what colour is Tobias right now?
Oh, he's grey. He did not understand what happened.
Just straight confused. Oh, bless. Okay,
Oh, baby.
you're at DJ Moves' office.
Larry kind of gets the feeling that knocking won't be useful with all this noise, so he's just gonna go in.
Problem, the door is locked.
Fine.
Oh.
So there's two options, basically, for doors in D&D. One of them is to pick the lock, which you're both welcome to try. The other option is to break it.
Well, again, I know which Larry is better at, so unless Tobias wants to take a knock at it.
No, Tobias looks at the door, then looks at Larry, remember what happened at the start, and just goes to the side and presents the door to Larry.
All right, Larry kicks the door down,
Okay.
or at least attempts to.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing an unarmed attack, I think you should just roll damage, because I don't think the door is going to avoid you.
Okay, I think if it's an unarmed strike, it's just a straight 5 damage.
Okay, yeah, you don't actually have to roll. Ah, that's right. Okay, wha-bam! You manage to put your foot through where the handle is, and yeah, you've opened the door. Unfortunately, I don't know if this has ever happened to anybody else, but have you ever been in a club and it's just when the DJ changes the track, and that's the point at which you say something really embarrassing, or sneeze, or whatever, and everybody looks at you? There is an awful record scratch as the music stops and all of the penguins look at you and are just like, hey, what do you think you're doing?
Larry walks into the office without paying them any attention.
Oh, the buzz is not, oh, don't you and they go, they start kind of trying to chase after you, but they all get blocked in the doorway because they've all gone at the same time, so you have like this little mountain of angry, very bad New York accent penguins. I'm sorry to anybody who's listening from the Bronx, I swear to God. Yeah, you get into the office. There's nobody in the office.
He looks back at all the angry penguins. He goes, "Where's Deej?"
Get your foot out of my beak! I get your glasses out of my face! And so on and so forth. And they do actually collapse out of the door. And he says, well, the boss is out for the day. We just thought we'd get our party out of the way. You know, the statutory, the union demands that we have at least, 2 a week, lads? And yeah, fellas, yeah. And then there's a chunnering of like, yep, that's legit.
Oh.
Tobias is back to his light red and just, yeah, well, can you maybe do this a bit later?
Why? What's the problem? We're dancing here.
How are we supposed to get any filming done if there's a thrumming dubstep in the distance?
Oh, you want us to be, oh, that's rich, innit, boys? And there's a sort of boo, come on, get out of here, because your side of the studio has explosions all the time.
Guys, we've talked about this, and I don't even know if they have. He's just, like, rolling with it. We get to film during the day, you guys get to film at night, then our sounds don't overlap. It's common courtesy, all right?
Okay, I need you, I think both, to roll persuasion.
That's not what Larry's great at.
It's okay, you're with a bard.
Oh, that'll do it.
Toby, you
Yay,
genius. Okay,
finally.
Larry, they aren't listening to you, but Tobias, this is your shining moment. What do you say to them to persuade them?
You see him start to get redder, and he's just, yeah.
Oh, you cut out at a critical moment. No!
I beg of you, stop this. Because if you don't, I am going to destroy every single thing that produces sound on this part of the studio.
Oh my god! I mean, like, that's intimidation rather than persuasion, but my god, it's persuasive. And they know you. They know you. Like, you've been in the studio for ages. Like, everybody knows. Hey, Dobby. And they've never seen you turn red, and they've never seen you look angry or sound this serious. And they all look rather concerned. They're like, we was just having a party, boss. I'm sorry.
Well, you can have your party.
It's alright.
at
Please
the
do
normal.
this later, though.
And again, there's a sort of united scuff of the heel. It kind of sounds like shh, because they all do it at the same time. And they sort of, they nod and look very abashed. And congratulations, you have solved my penguin disco puzzle.
Yay!
Yay! So you've done it. You solved that problem. And you head back to the studio, and Tobias, there's someone heading towards the engineer's door that you probably recognize, and it's a little old lady with really thick glasses who is towing the world's largest and yet most ancient-looking alligator behind her.
Oh.
And you can hear her talking to this alligator, and she's saying, "Now come on, Terrence, we're gonna audition for the next movie. You're gonna be a star!" And she's got a really loud...
No.
Yeah, she's got a really loud voice. What do you do?
He runs towards her and just stands in front of her yet again. Maybe flinches a little because... What if this grandma is as strong as the engineer?
What if she is
But
as strong as the
he's
engineer?
just stuttering, no, please don't.
Hey, what's that, Sonny? Speak up. Hey, don't I know you? And she's squinting at you really hard. And if you recall, and those of you who have listened to the game that this lady was from, which was...
I absolutely recall.
Yeah, no shirts, no shoes, no service. She did actually see Tobias, sort of. He was dressed as a cowboy and then disappeared, and she assumed that he was a cowboy ghost, and then shot a lot out of the blunderbuss that she actually has with her, but she just uses it as a walking stick. Like, that's normal, right?
Oh my god.
But she hasn't recognised you yet, because she is very short-sighted.
Larry sort of sidles up by Tobias and goes, "Can we help you, ma'am?"
"Oh, why, sure you can, dearie!" And she's very loud. "Well, you see, me, I'm a talented little darling Terrence here. We're just dying to meet the engineer after he's made his comeback, and what? Why are you shushing me? Don't you know to respect your elders?" And she is going to try to bop you on the noggin, whoever did that.
Please don't speak so loud.
You are walloped over the head.
Oh, no.
Bang! And you take 2 bludgeoning
Oh
damage.
my god.
She didn't shoot you, she just gave you a good old clobber.
Larry goes,
Oh my god.
"I'm sure the engineer would love to meet a fan, but there are certain days for auditions. It does damage to your standing if you come in on the wrong day. Would you like a schedule, ma'am?" And it's just like full customer service voice.
Wow. That's amazing. I think you need to roll persuasion again. I'm sorry, because
Oh,
that's
boy.
actually hysterical. I just want to see how this goes. A 14.
That's not bad.
No.
14.
Yeah, she does listen to you, and she's like, "Well, that's more like it," and gives Tobias a kind of a side eye, like, and does sort of back away from the door, and is just like, "Well, I don't want to damage my possibilities, especially not with my dear sweet little Terrence here, who's such a star," and is giving the alligator
Oh
quite a
my God.
noogie. But she is still loud, but she is conceding to listen, so it's like, "What's that about a schedule? What do I do?"
And Larry sort of fumbles around. Maybe some of the paperwork is still fluttering around. I don't know.
You, 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 you also have your trusty ever-handy hammer space.
That's true. With the hammer space, he may as well just have like a studio schedule in there.
Roll a d10. Let's do it properly. Let's see if you get it.
Fair enough.
Because if you get a nat 1, you have to pull out random stuff. Okay, 5. Yeah, you got it.
Yay. So he pulls out a little schedule for like, I don't know, visiting hours and tours and auditions.
And she looks at it, and you can see her eyes through these like really thick lenses. They all sort of bugged out. She's like,
why do I make the writing so damn tiny? Well, I see what happens every other Tuesday. Okay. Well, we sure came a long way for nothing. Terrence, never mind, we'll come back tomorrow. You take care now, you boys, okay?
Have a good day, ma'am.
And
Yes, Mom.
she clatters away, and it's just as well you distracted her enough there, Larry, because after enough turns, she would have recognized Tobias and would have started shooting at him.
The last thing the studio needs is more gunfire.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as Jemima and Terrence head out of the door, there's someone else coming in, and this is a very different looking sort of a character. And he's very svelte. He's an otter, and he's wearing a very beautiful suit and has a suitcase and has every bearing of a lawyer.
Oh dear.
What are
I
you
don't
going?
like this.
What are you going to do?
Oh, is he heading in the direction of Angie's office?
He doesn't seem to know which way to go. He's definitely never been in here before. He looks a bit discerning, like he's wiping soot off the surface, which, you know, he was checking for dust, but there's actually soot. It's like, ugh.
And Larry is just like, he looks at Tobias and like, do you want to take this one or should I?
I'll try. So Tobias slides over to the otter and, hello, sir. How can I help you today?
Well, good to see that they have got some help in. Yes, my name is Otter Esquire. I am representing one Sideways Sam. He was involved in a particular incident some time ago. I don't know if you know about that.
No.
Yes,
I'm
no.
sorry.
Oh, no is correct. You see, my client is desiring to sue the engineer for using their likeness without his permission in this latest movie that you're producing. What is it called? Snakes on a Train?
And he's reading this off a piece of paper with a little pince-nez on his little nose. And he looks up at you and looks kind of officious and expectant.
That's great.
Larry, do you even
Well,
know about,
sir,
like...
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just, like, checking in on Larry. Do you know about the whole deal with the giant snake?
Probably not. He doesn't know about it.
Oh, dear.
What's that about a snake?
Oh, well,
A lot of crazy stuff happens in this studio. He can't possibly keep track of it all.
that's fair. And yeah, he takes this as a cue to sort of look around you, and he does see the door to the office. He's like, I expect that the engineer would reside in such a place. It's fine, I will talk about this directly with the owner of this establishment. And he's heading towards...
No.
He's already
No,
in an
please don't.
appointment.
Oh, I see. Well, when will he be available?
Oh, let's see. And Larry, again, sort of flips through some paperwork that is probably entirely unrelated because he is just pulling things out of his butt at this point. He goes, I think he should probably have time open on this coming Friday.
No, out of the question. Out of the question. We must be settled on this matter, or at least be set for legal ambassadorial activity by Thursday. No, that won't do at all. That won't do at all. I will see him immediately. This is important enough. I am sure he will understand. And he's going to try and get past you.
Larry will not let him pass. He is with a very important client right now. I do not advise you interrupt, sir.
I think initially I need you to make a dex save to stop this otter from getting past you.
Fair enough. Nope. That's a dirty 20
It's
again.
a dirty 20.
Larry's rolling good.
Yep.
Nice.
I think the flavor, you stop him with the banjo, like you swing it off your shoulders and just like ka-tong, and he's just like, oh, well, if I see. So you have got him to stop and listen to you. Toby, do you want to back up your friend here?
Yes, he's with he's actually talking to Escalating. You know him, right? You know Escalating.
The
And,
Escalating show? Are you serious? And he looks very excited.
Yeah. Yes, and that's absolutely why you cannot interrupt, because you know,
I think you need to roll
best
deception.
not to interrupt it.
If you're gonna sell this blag, you are going to have to deceive this otter. So let's see how that goes. 20.
Oh, nice.
Woo!
That's bar
Oh.
powers for you.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, so luckily for you, this otter is a big fan of the Toontown world's equivalent of Hercule Poirot, and he's so excited. He's basically hiding behind his briefcase. Now he kind of wants to go in the office for a different reason, but he's also like, well, I completely understand, but you have to understand that my client, he's very insistent, and you hear a very big on the door, and you hear in a rather awfully sinister voice, "What are you doing in there?" And the otter turns white. This was a brown otter about a minute ago. Now he looks more like a sea otter. He has turned completely pale cream colour.
Esquire, are you finished already or what?
And who is that at the door? Can Larry see them?
You will have to go to the door and open it and go outside.
Fair enough.
Okay, I think Tobias, where are you
Stay in
going
front
to?
of the door.
Where are you going? Like, are you staying with the otter or are
I
you?
don't want the otter to enter.
Okay, yeah, you're staying with the otter. Okay, because yeah, it's quite a walk to the front door. Like, you are near the engineer's office, which is like inside. Larry, you open the door and there's a very large snake. That's big ass snake. He's also he has a beautiful.
Oh, I forgot. I should have.
Yeah, well, you'll have an opportunity, but the snake has a very big pink moustache, and he also has a really good eye patch. It's got a cool design on it, but a nasty-looking scar underneath it. He squints down at you, Larry, with his right eye and says, "Who are you?"
Hey, my name's Larry. I take it the otter is your buddy?
Yeah, my buddy, but he's doing my bidding.
Well, we have explained to him the situation. We understand that you have complaints with our employer. He is unfortunately unavailable to take your complaints at this exact moment, but we would be happy to take a message so that he can respond to you in a timely manner.
Okay, that's awesome. I still need you to make a dex save. You do get advantage though, because you're a barbarian.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Oh, good. I get advantage. That's
Yeah.
not great.
13 ain't
That's
gonna
slightly
do it.
better.
13
Oh,
ain't
Gonna do it though, because this guy is, oh my god, he's big, Larry. Like, he is multiple Larrys long. I don't even know how many Larrys long, but probably like more than Gregory the Dragon, which is saying something. So he wraps himself around you and points the end of his tail at you, which is a machine gun. It's like a rattlesnake tail, but that's a machine gun. And he just says, I would like to talk to your boss about certain events that were recorded on film without my given permission. Now, you have to understand, I'm being nice about this, because I could be suing him for other bodily harm. And he taps the machine gun against his scarred face, implying that, yeah, he did that to me. I'm not pleased about it. But you see, my otter friend here is very good at getting into people's skin in a different way, and I thought that would be a satisfying means of getting my revenge.
Well, the nice thing about having a mask on is, as far as anyone can tell, Larry is completely unfazed. And Larry goes, well, I understand your frustration, sir, but the fact remains that the engineer is not available to talk to anyone at this time.
Yes, I am very sorry, my dear Sidewinder Sam. But he's in a meeting with a very important individual.
And the otter is actually hiding slightly behind you, Tobias.
I am grabbing the otter, and I am going to see Sam.
Okay. Can I ask what color you are?
Hello there.
That's awesome, but what color are you? I need this.
He's still red.
He's still red.
He's still red.
Oh, jeez. Okay, Larry, you
He's tired of all of this.
Larry, you get a little bit more air than you were getting previously, because this snake kind of contorts and flinches when Tobias shows up, and that tail rattles slightly. He's like, you! What are you doing here?
Well, I work here.
You work here? And
He's
looks
just
anxious.
looking at the snake with a big smile.
Well, that's by the by. I'm still big and mean enough to make my entrance if I have to. I've been doing this the nice way. Do you want me to do it the nasty way?
Well, sir,
I
if
don't
you were
know.
to do it the
you
nasty
want to do it the nasty way?
Sorry, you both overlapped.
Yeah. I guess Tobias gets his cool do you want to do it the nasty way line. And
Sorry,
then
I just want...
It's fine.
and then Larry chimes in with, sir, I'm afraid if you proceed to do it the nasty way, it will severely damage any standing you hope to have in court.
That's awesome. I think Larry, make me persuasion. Tobias, make me an intimidation roll.
Yeah, 12.
12. He's kind of half-heartedly listening, but not. He's kind of losing his temper right now, so 12.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Oh, Toby, a 6! He isn't intimidated. So, yeah, which is surprising because...
Tobias looks a bit funny because he's so small and so angry.
Yeah, and you get... It's quite funny actually in return because he kind of does a sneering chuckle and then tries to do this cool thing where he shoots his head through the door and like brings it up real close to you. Unfortunately, he's wearing like these belts of ammunition and it gets stuck in the door because he's really big. So his head doesn't quite get as far as he wanted it to, and it kind of goes kaboing back, and he's like... Now, listen, I can take my recompense financially, or I can take it in my literal pound of flesh, and I'm not too fussy whose it is.
Can Larry try to roll to
Tobias
get
is
out of
just
the
staring
coil?
Yeah, Larry, I'm not sure whether this is like acrobatics or a sneak roll or a strength save. I'm gonna give you free movement on this because he is distracted. Sorry, Tobias, what did you say while rolling is happening?
Tobias is just staring him down, but it's more like up because Sam is big.
Okay. Fortunately, he is distracted enough by this little glaring showdown that Larry's 15 is enough to get free. Do you want to describe what you did to get out of this snake?
He sort of does a weird little kind of like squirm, and then it's sort of weird. You'd think he wouldn't be able to pop out with his proportions, but very suddenly he's just like sort of shloop as though there was no mass to him at all, and he just sort of like pops out and sort of like hops down on the ground. It's just like he's sort of watching this staring contest between the two of them.
Okay. I think with that, we will cut back to Tobias and see what you do.
I'm still thinking about it.
It's fine. You also still have this quaking, shaking
Tobias
lawyer.
continues to... I don't know what to do with him right now.
Okay, you just continue to stare.
I'm making sure he doesn't go back to engineer's office too.
Okay, I tell you what, this is going to be an intimidation off. So you roll intimidation and I shall roll intimidation.
Oh.
17. Oh, 16.
Oh,
damn!
Oh, damn.
You wish somebody was filming this because it's intense, man. You know, like in anime where there's like a string of electricity between your eyes? It's like that. It's really cool. So, 17 and a 16, he is more intimidating than you. So, yeah, he isn't cowed into moving. However, Larry, this gives you a sizable amount of time to think of something and do something.
Larry is sort of glances down at the lawyer and he says, "Excuse me, Mr. Otter Esquire, was it?"
Yes, and this otter kind of worms his way rapidly over to you, you know, in that cute wiggly way that they do. It almost looks like he swam towards you, and he appears by you. He's not very tall, he reaches about halfway up a Larry.
There he goes. "I'm sorry, I'm not an expert in law. What happens when a plaintiff causes bodily harm to a defendant?"
Well, it goes very poorly for the plaintiff, usually.
That's what I thought.
What are you implying?
Well, I'm just saying, as much as Mr. Sidewinder here is hoping to get some recompense for the harm done to him, which is, I confess, not great, and the boss will have some things to hear about in regards to that. Breaking into private property, threatening employees, I don't think that's the best way to get started on legal action. Do you agree with me, sir?
I think you need to... I'm gonna, again, I'll let you choose, like, whether this is intimidation or persuasion. I feel like it could be either, because, like, you're kind of scary looking, dude. It could be either. 12.
Oh, I that's a 12, so it's not as high as before, but I don't know, maybe because him and Tobias are on the same side, it helps.
Yeah, it does. In fact, like, the DC for this was very low, because he doesn't want to stay in here. He is, however, very cowardly. This otter is terrified of his client, and he's sort of like, I'm definitely on your side, sir. What did you say you were, Larry? Yes, I do agree, but, well, look at what I have to deal with here. What am I supposed to do? Tell him?
Sir, I'm not here to tell you how to do your job. I'm just saying, he has come to you for legal counsel. I suggest you counsel him.
No. Well, I suppose, when you put it like that. And he sort of shakily walks towards Tobias and he sort of coughs next to this gigantic snake head that could just like inhale
Larry
him.
is not going to leave this guy out to dry. He's
Okay.
coming up alongside him.
Okay, good. I was like, oh, please don't let this guy have to take it by himself.
Mr. Sam, I really must implore you to reconsider your stance. This is going to really damage our case in court if we ever get there.
And he actually sounded a bit annoyed at the end, which is impressive. And Sidewinder Sam just doesn't move his head and just rolls that slitted pupil down towards this otter and says,
I hired you. I don't even think I'm gonna bother firing you when I could just swallow you whole. Now you are gonna do your job or I'm gonna do mine.
And he's not looking pleased. You all have an opportunity to do something though right now because he is distracted by the otter.
Larry is severely annoyed at this point. He's just like, okay, listen. Literally all that's happening right now is you making first contact. This doesn't need to be a showdown, okay? All you have to do is leave a memo for the engineer and you can threaten him all you like when he's available. You're making this a lot more sticky than you have to, and I gotta tell ya, it's not going in your favor.
Oh my god, that was so cool. And I think because his lawyer has said so, and because you have said so, and gosh darn it, like, even though he effectively won that stare down, he is still on pins about Tobias, because god, this kid scared him last time. He doesn't know what is up with you, Tobias. He doesn't know if you are just, like, the ballsiest mother pecker in town, or you're actually, like, you have something to back that up, but he kind of is aware that he's also...
I have no self-preservation.
No self-preservation. He's also aware that he's stuck. Like, he only has his head in this room, and he doesn't really have the wherewithal to make a really good fight of it, even though he could probably eat all of you if he got lucky in one go. So, he sort of... Yeah, he sort of shrugs in a slithery way and says, I will be back. This is not the last you've heard of me. However, Otter Esquire, I think your services are no longer needed. I'll be seeing you, though. And he disappears out of the door very quickly, which is surprising, considering how big he was. And the otter faints.
Oh, I guess he really didn't care about taking legal action. He's just kind of a big baby.
Yeah, he is. You see, Tobias is actually light purple now because of all the failed intimidations.
Oh, bless.
Larry's gonna pick up the otter to make sure he isn't just like cold laid out on the floor.
Okay.
And he looks at Tobias and goes, "It was impressive. Nice work."
Oh, thank you. Nice work to you too. Wow. You're great at this, actually.
Well, I do what I can. And he's gonna look for like just someplace like relatively soft to put the otter down until he regains consciousness.
Yeah, you do. And in fact, you know, there's owls about now, like it was early. It's now much later. Like, this all took time. So you find the first aid owls, and they fix this otter up, who decides to skip town, unsurprisingly. So that's not a problem you have to worry about. And this continues the whole day. It's just impossible. There are so many things that come up, and you just... You know, you do manage to fend them all off, but you get a real insight into the kind of bullshit that the engineer has had to be dealing with. There's a couple of, like you get a delivery of chocolates, and you open it up, and they're all teeny tiny bombs. There's like 1 or 2, like, assassination attempts a day, and this is just normal. And yeah, this continues until, like, it's starting to get towards 5 o'clock in the evening, and this is good because this means that the engineer has almost had a long rest. However, somebody comes clattering up to the door, and it is Boris Borskola. And this horse has a delivery cart that he uses for lots and lots of things, and he pulls up to the front door and says, "Delivery, delivery for the engineer."
Larry is very tired at this point. He goes, "Yeah, just leave it there. We'll take it."
"Oh no, I can't do that, sir. Engineer is awful particular about his fuel."
His fuel.
For Willow.
Okay. Well, can you wait a little while? Because the engineer is busy right now.
"Oh no, sir, no, sir. I've got to get out of here and to the other side of town. And my clients, they don't like me being late. I mean, I can go off with the fuel.
But the thing is,
I can take it back with me, but I don't think the engineer would be happy."
Let you see him.
"Oh, well, that's a problem. The engineer don't like anybody handling the fuel except himself."
Well, he's put us in charge, which means he trusts us to handle whatever he handles. So, I leave it up to you, sir. Either take the fuel with you or let us handle it.
He tilts his head from side to side, but you can tell this guy is busy, and he's on a schedule. He's like, "Well, it's your boy's funeral. Here you sign here," and gives you a piece of paper to sign.
And he signs it.
"Okay, that's 4 sacks of fuel from the Forest of Tiaros. It's on the bag there. You take it now."
And I need you both to roll a strength check.
Oop.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's
Nat
good. Larry's
20.
got it. Nat 20. Plus a 4.
Oh, shit.
All right.
Toby, do you want to describe what happens to you when you try and lift this sack of fuel?
So he carries it for a second, and immediately after it falls on him.
You're just trapped.
He really gets crushed by it.
Oh no. Actually, yeah, I mean, like, it's heavy stuff. So you're gonna take one. You only take one bludgeoning damage from this sack of fuel.
Bingo.
Larry, you're fine. You Popeye this shit.
Yeah, he's just like got some under each arm, and once he safely sets them down, he also hoists off the one on top of Toby.
Okay. I think in the spirit of camaraderie, I suspect you both carry the last one, because, you know, Tobias, you don't have a problem, like, if someone is helping you carry this thing, but, yeah, they are very heavy by themselves. And, so this studio is weird, because it's, in the back, it's also kind of, a station as well, because there is a docking bay for Willow, the train, to lay at bay while she's not being used, and the train is used for deliveries often of cargo when they're not being used on set, but she is tucked up all nice and snug in her bay, bunker, whatever you call the place that you keep a train. I don't know this. I love trains. I can't think. But yeah, if you look though, her coal caddy is almost empty, and yeah, you have 4 sacks of fuel with you.
Larry's not a mechanic guy, so he's like, "Can we just leave this here until boss is woken up?"
I guess we could do this. Yes, because I don't know anything about this either. Oh, we could maybe ask Willow though.
Does the train talk?
I don't know. Have you tried talking to her?
Well,
Larry certainly
I've seen her
hasn't.
in action.
Sorry, I got a muddle of voices then.
Well, Larry certainly hasn't tried talking to the train, but Toby.
Well, Tobias has seen her in action, and March probably talked about what happened when he was at Willow's command. so Tobias knows Willow can guide them if needed.
Okay, what do you do?
Well, I look at Larry.
Larry kind of shrugs.
To fuel Willow on.
He shrugs like, sure, you're the one who's dealt with this train. Go for it, my dude.
Okay, I just rolled a d10 for those listening, and one of these sacks kind of falls over. They're very heavy, and you've just set them up against a wall. And as it falls over, like, part of the seam kind of comes undone, and you can kind of see in there. It kind of just goes... it's not terribly dramatic.
There he goes back to sort of prop it upright again.
Oh, do you? Yeah, okay. So, if you're going to do that, I need you, Larry, to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, cool. Larry's good at those. Oh.
26, you're
Yeah,
fine.
that's another nat 20.
Another nat 20, you're absolutely fine. Nothing further happens.
Are you gonna talk to the train or what?
Well, oh yes, I am going to talk to Will. Tobias goes to the engine room.
Okay, the first thing you notice, even without perception, is it's not glowy. And the last time you saw this train, it had this wonderful blue glow. Though you didn't go inside, this train has a sort of see-through seam on the side. It's kind of a jaggedy smile. Looks a bit like someone you know.
Willow? Hello?
And you hear absolutely nothing in reply.
Maybe she needs the fuel to be able to communicate, actually.
Uh-huh. So what are you gonna do?
I look at Larry again. Tobias is not good at
Alright.
taking you.
Fine. And Larry sort of hoists up the one that's like, it's already partway open, so might as well try and put it in.
Yeah. I'm gonna say you can lift it up no problem with that strength roll from before. You're fine with this.
Fair.
Okay, you're just taking it into the fuel carriage and chucking it in the firebox?
Sure. Larry doesn't know a whole lot about how trains work, so that's his best guess.
Okay, and Tobias, you're there too, right?
Oh yeah, I am definitely. Tobias was about to help Larry, but he seems to be doing fine by himself, and I don't want to get crushed again.
Okay, Larry, you heft up this sack, which is already, very conveniently opening itself for you, and sling it towards the firebox. The result of this is a cloud of, not smoke or soot, but it is dust that comes off this fuel, and both of you immediately fall unconscious. And we are going to go to a break. So we're going to take 5 minutes. Going to take 5 minutes for the chat to freak out. You are both KO'd completely, and we're going to come back to what the hell is going on with that after we've all had a bit of a stretch and a rest. So, see you in a few minutes, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a rolly chair, and I just rolled it in under the desk. I hit the desk with my knee. Ow. I hate it when that happens. Bummer. Okay, I failed my Constitution saving throw.
Oh no.
Okay, it's fine. I've got one
Your
other
turn
kneecap. I can lose one. It's fine. Okay, so right, we are resuming the game now. You two have both just bit it. Well, not literally, but you have passed out. And this is where the players were given a little bit of forewarning about this, folks, because they are both fast asleep, and they aren't having a good time with that. In fact, they are both having a nightmare. And I think we will start with Larry. Do you want to describe what's happening with Larry?
Okay, sure. Let's see. Larry is dreaming himself standing down a long path, and he can see there's a figure in the distance. He can't quite make out their face, but the sight of them is instantly familiar and nostalgic, like finding a forgotten favorite toy lost under the dresser, or the smell of a swimming pool on a hot summer day. And they turn to look in his direction, and dream sort of blurs out the details of their face. It's sort of lost in the hazy edges of memory, but Harry can feel him in a longing pang of fondness, and he realizes that he's not looking at him. He's looking somewhere over his head behind him. He's taller than he remembers. He's not sure if the figure has grown or if Larry has shrunk. And he realizes he's moving towards them. He didn't realize he was walking. Larry looks down and realizes he isn't. His feet have sort of fused into the floor and aren't responding to his desire to move, and the ground sidles further up his ankles as he's dragged even closer to the figure in the distance. And he can hear a laugh. He looks up, but it's not a laugh that's derisive or making fun of him. The figure isn't even looking at him. He's just talking to someone else. He's right in front of him, looming ever closer as his legs go numb, but the figure still won't see him. Larry tries to call out, or he thinks he did. Did it make a sound, or did he just want it to? The figure doesn't react, so he can't really be sure. He's so close, and he could nearly touch him if his hands were still there. And his words buzz like static in Larry's ears, but it's a vague thrum as the earth cuts off his breath. The figure looks happy, and its shadow consumes Larry. It's dark.
Yep, that's some heavy shit, dude. That's an amazing nightmare description. I just love that so much. Oh, Larry. Okay, so that's Larry's nightmare that's happening right now. Toby, how about you?
I am not that great at descriptions, but I will try. So, Tobias wakes up somewhere in a room with a ton of doors. So, he looks around a bit, and he decides to go try a door, which leads to a bricked wall. And when he looks at the room he shrunk a bit. And Tobias actually starts to go purple at this idea. So he goes to try another door, which leads to a bricked wall again, and the room shrinks again. And so, until Tobias is at the last door, with the room almost totally enclosed on him, and he can barely move. And actually, I may have a picture to show.
Oh, good.
Oh, wonderful.
There.
Oh boy.
He actually looks like that as he goes to open the last door, and the walls are almost completely enclosed on him.
Yeah, that's bad.
And I think that's it for the description as he tries the last door.
That's bad, man. Okay, yeah, you're both having a really bad time. But here's something weird. Individually, whilst you are having your dreams, at this point, you both hear a train whistle, which isn't kind of one of your deep-seated fears in a nightmare, but it sounds weirdly drawn out. It's like a train whistle, but in slow motion, or like you're hearing it through water or something. But that happens. And after this has happened, something happened. And Tobias, I want you to make a perception check.
Oh boy. What is it again for the perception?
I think you have a nothing, actually. I think you said it was straight 0.
Yeah.
Sorry. Nate. Okay, that actually works. So you're in this kind of meltdown. You're having this panic attack, effectively, with your colours going ballistic. And you, in the corner of your mind, you feel like someone is watching you. You feel like there is someone present who is watching you. But the place you are in is still empty. Larry, you also have something that's strange is going on. You make me a perception roll, please.
Okay, that is also a straight D20.
2.
Oh, that's a 2.
Yeah, you're still swimming in your sea of the unconscious. You're having a horrible time being blasted to the floor, and you don't actually notice anything. And then, like, again, something almost like external happens. You kind of feel a vibration. I want to say it's not like a sound or a texture, it's just kind of like a heartbeat. It's very strange. It's sort of a very gentle sensation, but it feels odd, and it feels like it isn't a part of you, but it is. At this point, Tobias, we're going to go back to you because you do think there is someone watching you. What do you do?
Tobias tries to look around, but in the mindset he is in right now, you really can't talk. But he can look around, and he does so.
You
frantically see... a bit, actually.
Yeah, okay. You can either roll perception or investigation, I think.
I'll try investigation, because I at least have a bonus.
7. Yeah, you're again, like, this makes sense though, because you're utterly confused, because you whip around in this corridor of doors, and you maybe even open a few, but it's just more brick walls. There is nobody here. There is just you. And Larry, I think I'm not going to make you roll again in case you like bungle it again, because we could be here forever. But something strange has happened to the person that you described your feet are like effectively fused to. What do you think is going on?
It doesn't quite match up. This isn't how he acts. And like it for the moment with that too, he'd sort of just kind of gone numb and emotionless, but with the sort of weird thrum, it's making him try and be like, what is happening? Can I roll, I don't know, would it be another perception or an insight maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say either of those two. A 10?
Oh, still only average.
Yeah, but you're kind of getting a clue. So for that, I will say you kind of get the sensation that something has changed, and it shouldn't have. That's really as much as I can give you for a 10. Tobias, I'm gonna give you a clue, because you are completely alone in this room. There is only one other thing in this room apart from you, and it is your shadow.
Oh. My shadow doesn't look like me, actually. but it looks really scrambled, kinda shifting. It also smallly, but you can see the color saturation changing too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like it's glitching a bit, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
which freaks Tobias even more.
Yeah. Okay. So you at this point, you definitely hear a train whistle, and it is again. It's kind of stretched, but it's less obscured than before. And you hear something else, but you can't figure out what that other sound is right now. It's like you said, it's glitched. It kind of sounds like it's coming through a lot of interference on a badly tuned radio.
Larry kind of blinks once or twice. He feels weird, like he sort of feels like there are emotions happening, but none of them belong to him, so he doesn't know what these sensations are, and it's sort of like just kind of like an irritant, like something that is just kind of really distracting, and he can't quite focus enough to figure out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually tries to sort of thrash a little to try and get rid of the weird sensation.
Okay. Tobias, are you looking at your shadow right now?
Oh, he did not stop looking at it since he noticed it.
Your shadow just blinked.
Who?
And then it started trying to escape from you.
Tobias is already not feeling great, but he starts getting even darker. He's almost black actually when he sees this.
Okay. And I think Larry, at this point, we all know what's going on, but you're also much closer to the person now.
Should I roll a perception check to figure it out, or what?
I think that's up to you as a player. If you want to leave it to the dice, fine. If you want to just call it, that's also fine.
Yeah, I think at this point, Larry has the sudden realization, wait, that's not what he looks like. That's the new kid. Why is the new kid here? And then suddenly Larry is in the space with Tobias, and it is very cramped and very tangled.
Yeah, so Tobias, with a cartoonish sort of, you see your shadow inflate and sort of kaplunk out of the floor, and it is Larry, and he is in this room with you now.
And actually, can I ask Tobias to make a quick perception check?
Oh god.
Okay. You notice immediately it was a very low DC. Larry is not wearing his mask, but you cannot see what is underneath the hood.
Oh.
It is too dark to make out.
Well, it's not like Tobias is really concentrating on anything, because he is even more cramped now and he doesn't like it at all.
Larry's like, what happened? Where is this?
Tobias can't respond, he only whimpers.
Come on. Larry is himself sort of worked up from a variety of elements at this moment, and is trying to take in this very cramped little space. He goes, how did you get in here?
Please get me out of here. Please, 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 please.
Larry sort of goes to rub at his mask, and his hand sort of passes through the space where his mask would be and pulls his hand back and, okay. Well, how did I get in here? He's looking around again, being like, wait a second.
I need you both to make a dex save right now.
Oh, good.
Oh boy.
Ugh,
Okay, an 11. That's fine.
that's good for Larry.
And a 19. Okay, somehow, Tobias, you keep your balance. However, yeah, Larry, I think you were closer to the part of the floor that moved the most. Because as soon as you two started, like, having a conversation about this is what, how did I... And you start questioning the logic of this world, it twists. And it is like you're in a long rectangular prism and someone has twisted both of the ends in opposite directions. And it becomes very unstable. It's just as squashed as before, but that was very disconcerting. Like, it didn't even make a noise. It happened within the space of a frame, and the space has contorted.
Oh, my head. What? I don't... Where is he?
Tobias is actually starting to calm down because there's a bit more room to move around. So his colors start living and going back to a dark purple.
Larry sort of...
Ooh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt the coolness.
No, just Larry kind of awkwardly kind of picks himself up off the floor.
Okay, I think you should both make a perception check, or I can go off passive perception. Perception. Ooh.
Yeah, Larry's not rolling great on perceptions right now.
Okay,
Me neither.
for that,
Oof.
both of you hear something that sounds like, "Hey, hold on." And outside of that, you can also hear something. It's like a very distant hiss, like if someone had put on a record, but it isn't playing any music. It just sounds like that static electrical hiss that comes out of something that's not doing anything right now.
Larry is sort of squinting around the corridor. He's like, how does it look now? Because it you did say it changed.
Well, it twisted in one aspect, but it didn't like turn around or anything. And you run, you don't go anywhere. You're as close to Tobias as you were when you started.
Larry anxiously sort of checks himself to make sure that he is actually here, because he still has a sort of numb tingling sensation all over him.
Yep, you do that. Tobias, are you checking in with yourself in any way?
I think Tobias finally started to ground himself because he had the sounds to focus on. So he's still a dark purple, but he's fine now, and he finally starts looking around and looking at Larry and seeing that they're not in the same place as before.
Mm-hmm.
So he stands up and starts staying towards Larry.
Okay, you try and walk towards Larry. You don't get any closer to him.
Oh boy.
And I think because you're taking more notice of your surroundings now, again, both of you make perception checks, but I think, Tobias, you get an advantage.
Well,
Nope, 11 for Larry.
Strictly average.
Ooh.
There you go, Toby.
That's a good one.
Oh.
Nice.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Thanks to dice.
So, Larry, you're very disconcerted. This is bad for lots of reasons and weird. What the fuck? And but Toby, something very odd happens to you because like I'm gonna use both of those rolls because with the 18, you feel a physical sensation. You feel as if someone with an iron grip has got a hold of the back of your neck and also probably part of your shirt. You feel like something has grabbed you from behind. And then you hear in your ear, hold on. And you fall and you wake up and you come to and you have landed on a safety mat. You are in Dodo Studios, you are beside the train, and you see an extremely concerned looking engineer looking down at you from where he has thrown you off the train. And he is speckled all over with grey, but also orange of both like the average sort, but also the glowing sort. He looks like a mess. Like he looks like, you know, you're multicolored with this kind of oil palette. He's like the opposite. He's kind of doing this fiery ash multicolored thing, and he says, "Okay, you're awake. You're okay."
What happened? Where was I? Where's
Heck,
Larry?
look at the state of you. Hold on, hang on. Larry, I'm sorry, lad. I'll have to come back to you. And he looks genuinely distressed. He's looking down at something on the train, but he gets off the train and he comes up to you and gives you a hug, and it's a very sort of calming, very still hug, and he's like, "It's okay. You're all right."
Ooh. Tobias starts slowly, very slowly, shifting to a light green, actually.
All right, that's good. That's good. Good.
And then... What happened?
I think I'll explain after we've got Larry back, and you are going to follow the engineer back onto the train. But in the meantime, Larry, you know those really bad perception rolls? So, like, you cannot possibly miss Tobias going missing.
And Larry sort of like is looking, kid, where'd you go?
And you don't hear anything apart from a little bit of an echo and that hiss again. But now it's much more recognizable as the sound of rain, and it does sound like it's coming towards you.
Well, please don't go.
And yeah, what do you do?
He's if there's a sound of rain, then there's an outside, and this can't be the only place there is. He wants to find the outside.
You head towards the sound of the rain?
Sure, yes.
Okay, you head towards it, but I will say that you can also see now, because it isn't completely dark, this place, there is a glimmer of a reflection on the floor ahead of you, and it looks like water. However, we will go back to the real world, where the engineer has got back onto the train, and Tobias, you are faced with a very distressed-looking man, who is faced with a rather distressing visual, because there is no Larry. There is a heap of Larry's clothes on the floor.
I have put an image in the gallery.
Oh, I put it in dice as well. I put it in the game zone as well. It's so good. And he's just saying, Larry, oh God, how the heck do I wake you up?
Where's Larry?
Larry is...
Where?
Okay, I'm gonna show you something, but you have to promise not to tell anybody.
Okay.
And he lifts the hood up off the floor, but the hoodie is, and you see a shadow with no person.
Oh.
You see an unconscious shadow.
Oh.
So you see my problem. I
Oh.
thought gravity was the quickest way to wake you up, but if Willow's whistle didn't wake this fella up, I don't know. I don't know if sound will do it. I mean, that's what woke me up, by the way. She told me that you were... Well, she screamed, so I knew there was something up.
What do we do then if physical contact and sound don't work? What other options do we have?
He's gripping the back of his head because he is thinking the same thing. Well, how the heck are they going to solve this one, fellas? I think just make me an intelligence check, see if you have any brainwaves. And obviously, if you have an idea, just say so.
Maybe Tobias has brain cells, but I don't.
Yeah, I have a backup plan if you don't think of anything. It's fine. An 8. Yeah, that's not so good. I will say then.
This man has no brain cells.
I mean, it's understandable. You've just been faced with like the revelation of the century that your coworker is a shadow and he's unconscious and this is what.
Yeah.
And you just woke up from a really bad nightmare. It was really freaking weird. Fortunately, you have with you someone who is incredibly distressed. This might sound like a very strange thing to say. However, when the engineer is at an extreme of emotion, he does something particularly unique. He is glowing, and he doesn't look his usual happy sort of molten gold yellow color. He looks kind of like sick. It's a weird light. He is panicking, and he doesn't often do this, so his body doesn't really know how to do this. So it's kind of a flickering one light. It's very odd. It's like a signal box that's kind of gone wrong. And while he's doing this, the shadow on the floor gets darker, because when light is bright, the shadow gets darker. Does this give you any ideas?
I look around to see if there's anything I could get up to Larry that produces a lot of light. Like spotlights. We're in a studio. There's lots of spotlights.
Yeah, there's lots of spotlights. You see one very close to this train. It is, however, up a ladder. So you wanna, like, roll me some athletics or acrobatics, if you like?
Oh, absolutely. Give me a...
During this, the engineer is just, like, freaking out, so he's not even thinking about that kind of stuff. He doesn't notice. 13. Yeah, you...
14.
That's not amazing, so I'm going to say you get halfway up and then your foot slips on a rung, and we cut back to Larry, because you're left hanging partway up a ladder that's quite tall. Larry, you're back in this dream and you're heading towards the rain.
Yeah, and you said he can see a sort of sheen of water in the distance?
Yeah, it's almost like it's pulling towards you, actually.
And he kind of hesitates, because Larry he's not good with water, but especially deep water, and he's suddenly not sure. He very much doesn't want to be left on his own, but also the way forward is suddenly less certain. It's creeping towards him. Like, can he get closer, or is it coming towards him?
It's coming towards him. It's sort of like You know when you've got in a shower and it kind of ends up coming under the door slightly in one of those really crappy motels? It's going at a steady pace, but it's not fast. So it's not like a torrent heading towards you. However, you are in a nightmare, and you are now alone in a nightmare, and the nightmare is going to start to figure out that you are very scared of water.
Oh dear. Larry kind of hesitates, and as the water creeps closer, he sort of like he shrinks back and presses himself into one of the walls to sort of get away, try and back up as much as possible, but suddenly it seems like there's a lot less room in here.
Two things happen when you do this. One is that the water doesn't stop moving. The other is that the back of your heel kind of sticks to the wall, and you feel that same sensation that you did before, that you are starting to fuse with this surface. However, you can now also hear a very distant, muffled sound. Can you make me a perception roll?
Let's see how this one goes. Better. 16.
16 will do it. You feel someone's hand on your face, and it's warm.
Please. I don't want to deal with this, please. And he sort of tries to feel at the place where he feels someone's hand.
And in the real world, the engineer has put his paw, on Larry's face, and your hand, your shadow hand, unconsciously comes up out of this collapsed form, and kind of, I don't know, would it overlap his, or would it go under it?
It'd probably overlap his, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, he gives a sort of, he's like not been breathing, so he gives this kind of gasp of relief, and he said, "You are right up there, Toby. I think that's the right idea."
I'm trying. I'm trying. Give me a sec.
Okay, I think this is roll.
Tobias tries again to get the spotlight.
Yep, roll again. Let's see if you can make it. A 15 will do it. That's fine. It's not elegant.
Yay.
Again, like you nearly fell off halfway up, so it makes sense that you kind of cling to it for a second, and you're
I
like,
don't care about elegancy.
Yeah. And you've got the floodlight. Well, the spotlight. What are you going to do with it?
I run back to where Larry and the engineer is, and I brandish the spotlight on Larry's face, because that's the only thing I see right now.
Okay. I don't know if this is the same for you guys, but I know for sure if the sun comes in through a window while I'm asleep, I wake the fuck up. Larry, how do you respond to this very sudden bright light that probably manifests in your dream before it comes to you in real life?
Yeah, there is a sudden blinding white, like he feels this warm sensation and tries to touch it, and suddenly everything gets very bright. And then the shadow lying on the floor by Engie, its eye pops open and blinks, and then suddenly swoop, and Larry's clothes are back up, and he's sort of scrambling backwards. What's happening?
The engineer is like, "Oh, thank heck, you're alright. It's okay, it's okay. Hang on, it's over here. I've got it." And he finds your mask, which has fallen off and rolled away, and offers it back to you.
Larry is so out of sorts that it takes him even a second to realize before he grabs it back, and sort of quickly puts it on, and goes, "Oh. Did anyone see?"
Well, and Tobias, are you coming back down the ladder? I won't make you roll for that.
Yeah, he is. He won't hide that. He saw the face.
Okay. Yeah, Larry, you see Tobias walking back towards you. And the engineer isn't hugging you, but he definitely has a hand on your shoulder.
God. Oh, Peck.
Well said.
I won't tell anyone, I promise.
It doesn't matter. It's... You can, he sort of rubs a hand over his mask. It's not like an actual secret or anything, it's just private. Larry then just sort of turns away from Tobias. He goes, "You okay, boss?"
Well, that's something to be debated,
And he's started to get a bit of his colour back, and in fact, both of you get a clawed hand that digs into the front of your respective shirts and shakes you back and forth and says, "What the bloody pit were you thinking? Handling the fuel by yourself? Don't ever do that again." And he has gone from fiery orange and yelling in your face to hugging you, an arm to each, and almost strangling the pair of you in so doing. And he has gone a very muddy, not entirely grey, but like, oh my god, he's sepia for sure. He was extremely distressed to find you both out here having collapsed.
Yeah, that was a dumb move. Sorry,
Tobias
boss.
doesn't say anything, he just looks back.
What colour is Tobias now?
Tobias is blue, but just blue. Not a dark blue or bright blue, just blue.
Okay, this hug continues for quite an amount of time. And it's not one of those awkward long hugs, it's just this sort of mutual collapse that you're all in. And he's actually I want you both to make a perception check.
Okay. I've done great with those so far today.
I will say you have advantage because you are right up close to him.
Fair enough. Not much better.
Not much better, no. Oh my god, a 1? Seriously? Okay, yeah, I mean, you both got not great rolls, a 9 and a 13 respectively. Larry, you're processing a lot, and I don't know exactly how shadows feel things, so it might make sense. I will say, Tobias, you're pretty aware that, you know, that's some pretty heavy breathing in the sort of juddery way, and he isn't crying, but you can't imagine how he would because he doesn't have eyes, but you get the impression that he's sort of holding himself together from doing so.
Tobias still doesn't say anything because he really doesn't know what to say. That was an experience.
Yeah, eventually he sort of said, "Alright, okay, fine. Right, well, a lot of this is on me," and he sort of lets you go and sort of make sure that you're not going to fall over again, and says, "Alright, so never, ever, never, ever do that again. Never handle Willow's fuel by yourself. I mean, I always take it in by myself, so nobody else does, but the fire owls, they always wear goggles." And he points at his face pointedly, and then, you know, you sort of both remember that when you passed out, there had been this cloud of dust, and it hadn't got into your lungs, it had got into your eyes.
That tracks.
Alright, so, little educational fact. This train runs on a very special type of fuel. I get it specially supplied by a friend, I shall say. We have the arrangement, who lives in the forest of Tivos, and this is nightmare fuel. It's great. Makes
This is the fastest train in the world for a reason. There's nothing makes you run faster. And he pats Willow's firebox affectionately, and she gives a sort of happy little toot-toot in reply. And as soon as you had, in fact, put the fuel in the firebox, you didn't need any tinder to light it, and there is this eerie, unearthly blue glow coming out from it. So it just kind of does it by itself in this train. Mysterious, spooky. So, yeah, that's what messed you up, but good.
Larry sort of looks at that and quietly processes, and he goes, "Hey, boss."
Aye?
So, you've got an angry snake who wants to talk to you.
Oh, pig.
Oops.
Alright, I guess you two have got something to fill me in. What time is that? And he's gonna like put an arm underneath both of you and sort of hoist you up off the floor. And I think this game ends with the three of you staggering off towards probably whatever facilities they have that provide very strong coffee. And you're gonna have a nice conversation with Train Dad about what you did today and how fun it was. And he is extremely sorry about what happened to you. So while there are no rewards for this game, you all have learned to understand each other a lot better. So, mutually, Tobias and Larry, I think you both know each other somewhat better, in an extreme fashion. Yeah, yep.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For the sake of chat, I want to post something that happened a week ago that kind of cracked me up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I shall look for this and put it in the video. Oh, yeah, that happened. Yeah. Also, for people watching this video, yeah, Larry has a cult now. It was implied in a previous game. I'll see if that's allowed to be put on the Toonkind playlist. I hope so, because that was really funny. That's something that's going to be explored. I won't go into that just yet, but a lot has happened in this Discord. Y'all are feral. But yes, so you both know each other much better. We all have got the reveal of Larry's secret, which is wonderful. But likewise, you guys
I am going to make sure everyone requests, it's, y'all know now, out of character, please remember that your characters don't know, because it's still private.
Yeah, this is, only the engineer and Tobias know. Well, and Larry, obviously. But, that's
Definitely.
it. That's it. Nobody else knows
And
this
Tobias
shit.
is definitely not telling anybody about that.
I very
Thank
much
you,
am glad to
Toby.
hear that, yeah. And, so you both also, have understood that the engineer really goddamn cares about you. He feels terrible about this, because when he fell asleep, he was trying to tell you that you absolutely should not take in any fuel deliveries without him, and he just passed out because he was so fucking tired. But you also understand why, because you had to deal with one day of his life, and it was very, very hard. So I think you've all got a lot closer, so, if there's any future games that rely on your insight rolls with the engineer, you will always have advantage.
Yay!
Because y'all know each other, you're family. Okay, I think that's it. Is there anything else you two would like to add? Or a postscript, whatever happens after this?
Let's see.
I have no idea for Tobias.
Yeah, Larry, he is not, he's not actively avoiding Tobias, but, he's probably not going to be the first to approach him, so things might be awkward for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Tobias let it go. He understands, really.
But that can be something they work out eventually.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the engineer has some ideas for some films, and some of them may have both of these guys together. You never know. But it might take me quite a long time to get to those. We have a lot of games to run. Oh my god.
I can only do like one game a week and maybe like 12 frames per second. I don't want to burn out, dudes, but like there's a lot.
Yeah, you gotta pace yourself.
Please don't burn out.
I don't want to. I will try not to. But this was really good fun. And yeah, you gave the engineer a little bit of self-care lessoning, and you're probably going to keep an eye on him for not doing that. Maybe encourage him to look for a new accountant, because part of the problem with him not getting a new one was not just that, you know, he couldn't, he just didn't want to, because that was Victor Tim's job, and he's really sad about that still. So that may be a whole
Love
thing.
the sad.
Next time on D&D, we go looking for an accountant. And anyway.
Oh boy.
Nah, maybe not. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Is there anything else you guys want to say? Otherwise, I will stop recording and go and eat my dinner.
Thanks for listening.
That was a great game.
I'm glad you liked
That was
it.
great. Thanks for listening.
Yay. Feelings abound, and so
I'm
will the
dying
fan
a
art.
bit.
I will probably have a horrible time editing it all into this because y'all go nuts in the Discord while we're recording. It's absolutely mad. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go. And I love you all very, very much. I got to hug both of them. I'm very happy about this.
We love you
Yay.
too much.
We love you.
Go eat.
I will. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.